Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another episode of I Never Met a Stranger I Didn't Like. And as you can see, I'm sitting here by myself. We had some other plans going on, but things happen and things change, and we got to kind of roll with it. If you're not familiar with the area, though, Claremore, prior, so Rogers County, Mays County areas got hit with a tornado just about, by the time this comes out, almost 2 weeks ago. And it was devastating. We don't typically see things like this here. It always happens around us, but we always kind of have this kind of false security apparently now that nothing's going to happen and we're going to be all right, you know. And it went right through town. My home, including, was in that path. Uh, by I don't know how, the grace of God, whatever you want to call it, luck it is, we sustained very little damage. Missing a few shingles, some skirting at the bottom of the home, things like that. We are still without power. This is day 10 now without power, and that's all right. I understand what's going on and what the situation is. Um, there's a ton of damage that happened around to the power poles, the power lines, the power substations themselves. And I honestly have to say, I give a round of applause to the city of Claremore, John Ferry, the city manager. You've got Steve Massey, who's with Rogers County Emergency Management, Dan Delosier, our county commissioner, Todd Ray, I believe is his last name. He is in charge of our electric here in the city. What they have done in such a short amount of time. I mean, I think the last I saw was like maybe 1,000 people without power. That may sound like a lot, and it may seem like, well, what's taking them so long? But there's a lot that has to go into getting this back up and running. There's debris everywhere, and they're getting that cleaned up quickly. I mean, within 24 hours, they had power restored to a good portion of the city. Within 48 hours, I believe it was like 75%. We can all kind of be a little upset here and there. Well, why isn't my power on? My neighbor has power across the road, but we don't yet. There's different reasons for what's going on, but they are working tirelessly. The linemen have come from all around. I mean, we had to stay in a hotel, and we were staying in a hotel, and we had a bunch of the linemen sitting there. They were from Skytook, they were from Cleveland. I saw Ponca City out there, the surrounding cities like Owasso and Catoosa, places like that were helping with brush removal, getting those fallen trees off and out of our way. It's just been phenomenal. How fast they've gotten things done. So since we're kind of I'm a one-man show tonight, I thought I would kind of do a little spontaneous podcast and kind of just talk a little bit about what's been going on around here, and maybe introduce myself a little bit more, because we haven't quite got a time to do that yet. And but I'll tell you this: when the tornado hit, it was so scary, because again, we don't usually typically get this, and I'm one of those people that just waits it out in my house, and this time, thank God we did not. My wife and me were watching the news, and as they talked about it moving closer and closer, the sirens went off at like 11 o'clock. And at that point, it was still over in Skytook, which is a town not too far from here. But I was kind of confused when why the sirens were going off, and this storm was so far away. And they were like, "Oh, it's going to hit Claremore around 11:40." And then they start talking about how it's dying down, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're good." And then we hear Travis Myers, our savior there, when it comes to the weather. And he has Station Night on there. He goes, "So let's get an updated time frame on when this storm's going to be moving in." And she said, "Well, I've sped it up a little bit because the storm is moving quite fast, and it's now going to be hitting the Claremore area at 11:24." And that kind of concerned me a little bit because we went from 1140 to 1124, and I was like, oh gosh, what's going to happen here? And then they start talking about, like 70 to 100-mile-an-hour winds, and we live in a trailer, and there's no point on why we should be in a trailer when it comes that fast in. And so he asked her again, and she said 11:19, and we were just like, it's 11:16. We got to go. And so we grabbed the kids and dead asleep, threw them in the car, and kind of jumped on the turnpike going south towards Verdigris because that's where my family lives. And as we're heading down the turnpike, we can see these green flashes of lights to the right of us. And every time that flashes, you just see this dark, just mass there, and realizing that was the tornado that we were seeing. And it was huge. It was just this big black mass. And every time those lights would go, every time it would hit a transformer or something, it would just flash. And we got to Verdigris. We got to my parents' house, and we're watching good old Travis on Channel 6. And he's talking about how it's going down Main Street, Claremore, and it's in Claremore now. Take cover. If you're there, take cover now. And we're just like, that's our house. That's where we live at, and why are we going to have a house to go back to? And so once it got past us, we jumped right in our car, drove straight back to the house, and we came down 66 from Verdigris, and it was surreal seeing what we started to see. There was no power, of course, and poles were falling over at Suburban Chevrolet on a car. And as we got further in, it got worse and worse. And we got over by Chick-fil-A over there, and there's a power line down. And then we get to the stoplight, and we realize we can't even go straight because there's a power line coming from Pizza Hut all the way across Quick Trip and crossing 66, J.M. Davis there. And it was just crazy. So we had to go around, and as we're driving around, it was just a giant maze. It took us 2 hours to get back to our house from Verdigris, which is typically about a 15-minute drive. And driving these side streets here on the east side of town, it was just a maze. There was trees down, there was lines down. It was just, there was a shed in the middle of the road. Roofs were torn off in the road, and it was just like a scene out of the movie Twister. And me and my wife both were talking about it, and we had a flashback from the movie Twister, where they get back to Aunt May's house, and there's lights going, there's sirens, there's just all kinds of going out, chainsaws going. And we kind of had that moment there where we're like, oh man, I hope Aunt May's okay. But said it to ourselves in our head. But we finally get back to our house, and as we're pulling up, we just see just pure destruction. Our neighbors took substantial damage to their homes, and some of them were still inside their homes when this happened. We had an RV that's parked there in the front of our park, and it had flipped completely upside down, and the bottom trailer had gone through the neighboring trailer just like a bullet hole, just straight through it. And as I stood there, I ran in the house, I looked around our home, and I was like, we don't have a broken window. We don't have anything that I can see from just the first initial look that it looks too bad. And as I run back outside or run around the home, we're missing some skirting. The trailer had not shifted at all. Shout out to Palm Harbor because they double strapped that thing down. It didn't even move. My trash can was still there. Our shed didn't move. Our porch furniture there on the porch was gone. We have one chair left. I ended up finding the table about 6-7 days later, off a little ways. But my daughter's Barbies and toys that were set on the porch were still right there. There's a little bit of missing shingles on the roof. I stood up on the edge of the porch, looked up there, and I was like, wow, okay. It looks like we are, pretty clear here. And so then we went into waiting to check on all our neighbors. And so we started running around checking on everybody, and had found out that a lady was in that RV that flipped upside down, and they had taken her to the hospital. But the crazy thing is she actually was there the very next day on Sunday morning, because this happened Saturday, May 25th. And she was there sitting on a chair, on a stool, alive. Couldn't find her dog, which then we end up finding, and you should have seen the reunion on that. He was so excited to see his mom. But we checked with our neighbors that were right next to there that had the bottom of her RV go through their house, and they were all right. They had gotten out just before, but there was a lot of people that were still in their trailers whenever this tornado hit, and we were in the direct path. And I don't think people realize how big the storm was. Yes, it was only an EF2, but EF2 to an EF3, that's still anywhere from 100 to 160 mile an hour winds in between there. And I know at one point there was 110 mile an hour winds at least going through here, because one of the storm chasers from our local news station, Channel 6, said that he had taken a direct hit and he had registered at least 110 mile an hour winds. So put that in perspective. That's pretty hard wind consistently going. And this is one of the widest tornadoes that we've had in Oklahoma history. And if you don't know, Oklahoma is in what we call a tornado alley here. And we have a lot of tornadoes. On average, about 58 tornadoes a year. But we've already had over 100, well over 100 this year alone. So that kind of gives you an idea. I mean, in 2019, I believe it was, in like May or April, we had like 109, 119, something like that. And so that tells you we've had a lot of tornadoes here. And this was one of the widest tornadoes that's ever been in Claremore. It was just it was just a little over a mile wide. I think it was close to 1.5 miles wide, and that's just absolutely insane if you think about it. 1.5 miles, how far wide that is. If you've ever tried to run a mile and you're out of shape like me, then you kind of understand. But this went right through there and just kind of tore up a lot of homes. Most of the damage here on the inside of town was from tree damage, where the trees had blown over, broken, fallen on power lines, homes, things like that. And if you're from Claremore, if you've ever been to Claremore, you know that we have a lot of gorgeous, massive trees that have been around for years. And now we've lost a lot of them, and it's really weird driving over there not seeing those trees up. But most of that damage had come from those trees falling through there. And then if you go out past a little bit further east outside of town, where it had turned into an EF3, there are some homes up there that are just rubble. There's nothing left but a mess from a foundation and their belongings. Some have walls that have been completely shifted. There's roofs that are completely gone. It literally is like watching the movie Twister and driving through a movie scene. It is absolutely insane. Never in my life have I ever witnessed something like that personally. I've seen it on TV and I've seen things like that. And I drove up to Joplin about 6 months after they were hit with that EF5, and I saw what it was there, and it was crazy. So I didn't even really see what happened right after. But as we kind of got settled down a little bit, we slept for a couple hours, because at this point it happened overnight. And by the time we had finally checked on our neighbors and kind of ran around out there in our neighborhood, it was close to about 2:30 a.m. And we kind of got a couple hours of sleep, and then we were woken up to chainsaws and people talking outside. So we got outside and started working, trying to get things cleaned up, trying to get things moved. And when we could see things in the sun, it was just absolutely insane. I packed up a backpack. I'm one of those crazy ones. I prepped for the solar eclipse, because I thought, hey, if something happens, we're going to be prepped up. So we had a bunch of cases of water and things like that packed up in the house. And so I loaded up a backpack and started walking around and just asking people if they needed help. You need some water, here's some water. And I just kind of got an idea. If you guys follow us on Facebook and things like that, you can you've seen the lives that we did when I was walking around, and I got to talk to some of the residents that were there and kind of hear their experience of what happened. And miraculously, there was only, I believe, like 24 injuries. 19 of them had to go to the hospital here in town. I know there was some deaths over in Mays County, and my heart goes out to them. That really rough. That's really rough. Sorry, I got a little emotional because I mean, this is our home, this is our community. But what I have to say is the people here, you just can't keep them down. We get hit by a tornado, and the very next day we're up, rolling, getting things cleaned up, getting things ready to roll, trying to get our lives back into kind of somewhat of an order. No power. The whole entire city of Claremore was out of power. And like I said, within 24 hours, they had a portion of it back up and running. And then within 48 hours, they had a good portion of it back up and running. Again, the leaders here, they've done a phenomenal job. For a town that doesn't get hit by tornadoes and disasters like this, they were ready and they did a great job. I know we hear a lot of negative comments about, well, this or that. I don't have power. There's still a tree over here. They haven't got here yet. They're working on it. They're doing the best they can. And I honestly 100% am so appreciative that we had the people that are in charge that we do, because they got it done. And they did a lot of work. I know they had a lot of tireless nights, long days, getting things situated, working with outside help, getting them in here to help us get power back up and running, working with the different power companies like GRDA and Verdigris Valley and things of that sort. The Rogers County Sheriff and the City of Claremore police officers, along with GRDA, they were on top of it. They were out patrolling. Those police officers were working hard and long hours to watch our homes to make sure nobody was looting, things like that. And as far as I know, they caught one guy before he even got started. And that's all I heard. I think they kind of scared him. And I don't know if you heard what Walden said, but Sheriff Walden said, there's a special place in hell for people like that, and we're going to help them get there. I mean, it's a little intense, don't get me wrong, but, I think that did scare a lot of them off. And so they did a lot of work to get it to where it was at and where we are now. I'm sitting in 320 on Main Street here in Claremore, and there's power. It's up and running, and it's absolutely insane. This is something I thought would take weeks, months, maybe, to get back up to somewhat normal. And they've done it within just 10 days now. Again, yeah, there are some places without power, but I think quickly here in the next few days, they'll have that all back up and running, ready to go. But again, I kind of got off topic there, and I know I just wanted to reiterate how appreciative I am of the people here. But our community, the people here are just, they're so resilient that they did not let it keep them down. I keep saying that the tornado has nothing on Claremore. The people of Claremore are some of the strongest hearted people, some of the strongest willed people. The people that were not affected by the tornado, except for maybe some power, were out and about helping. Even the people that were affected were out working long hours for free, helping people get things back up and running. And it's absolutely amazing to see the community come together. And sometimes, I know I hate to say this, but sometimes it takes a disaster like this to get us back up to being together again. And realizing that where we do live and the people that we do have around us are some of the best people in the world. This is, I say this over and over again, it's the best place to live. The people here are the best. They're so strong. I know there's still some people that are sleeping in tents in their front yard because they still don't have power. But I had talked to a lady at the donut shop the other morning, and she said, the situation's kind of rough, and they're sleeping in a tent in their front yard. And a brother-in-law, something of that sort, has cancer and had surgery not too long ago. And she said that, doing this, being able to like camp out in a sense, roast some hot dogs, some marshmallows, and kind of have that camping feel is the closest thing that he probably will ever get to that again. And I love that because we took such a negative situation and what we're in and turned it into something positive. And that's kind of what we do here. I myself, me and my wife, we felt a little bit of survivor's guilt because we do have a home to go back to. So we were volunteering all week with Mercy's Chef. Mercy's Chef came in Mercy Chefs is an organization that goes into disaster areas and helps feed people. And it's not just ordinary food, sandwiches, things like that. It is real chefs cooking amazing food, and it smelled so good. It tasted delicious. I think they did what they said was about 30,000 meals for Claremore. Then we also had Shark Bite meal prep, and a bunch of volunteers come up to them and with them and help out, serve out food on the east side of town over the hill in Justice, out by the casino where it just got annihilated. The KOA there looked like a bomb had gone off, and so they were out there trying to help because they couldn't all make it into town. And so they were out there serving food all week. They even were still serving today. I think, was it Hope of Light came out and took over kind of for yesterday and today. I don't know how long they're going to keep going that, but there's still a lot of people in need, and they noticed that. The Cherokees they're trying to help a little bit and do their thing too, the Cherokee Indians. And we went over to the church today, and they had it set up there to apply for assistance and things like that from the Cherokees, and it was packed. There were so many people in there, and they had more applications than they were even close to anticipating because there are so many people in need. Our refrigerator, all of our food spoiled, so we had to throw it all away because like I said, we're still here. We are day 10 without power, and that's not going to last. Luckily, I have some great family members that have helped us out along the way. My in-laws and my wife's side of the family, they've gotten us hotel, places to stay while we're without power, which the kids feel like they're on vacation right now. They don't really realize, they don't even want to go back to our house, but it's just been phenomenal seeing everybody step up. Lots of small businesses stepping up to help. I mean, Pixley's was giving out free plywood for people. There was a number of people handing out free water. JT Septics, and they've been out. They've got porta potties out in really hit hard areas. Gosh, there's just so many to name. It's really, I don't want to try to leave anybody out, but I'm telling you, the community here, they've just stepped up. The small business owners, and this is what I talk about over and over and over again. The people, the business owners, that they have such small margins as it is compared to the big box companies around here, that they just out and about give everything. Lots of different, I know Rogers County, Roco Construction, Roofing and Construction was out putting free tarps on roofs. They were handing out food and water. They working long hours away from their families as well to help their community. And it really showed me, yeah, this is why I want to raise my family here, because these people are the type of people that I want my kids to grow up seeing. And to learn from, because when something like this does happen, we can't do it alone. It takes a whole village, and we have such a strong village here. And it's absolutely insane what they've done to step up and help each other out and to get to where we are right now. Just like I said, 10 days, 10 days after it happened, 9 days after it happened. By the time this come out, it'll be almost 2 weeks, but I just wanted to kind of, reiterate that I can't say enough about this community. I can't say enough about the people, how strong-hearted they are and how tough they are. When they're dealt a situation, they get right back up, brush the dirt off, and go right to it. Taking care of the issues, taking care of the people around them, taking care of the elderly, taking care of the young. They were getting it done. And a lot of kids got to watch their parents volunteer and set an example for them that you don't see very often. It's not about you. It's about everybody else too. There's more than just yourself in the world. And so I absolutely love this community, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. We have some strong storms coming in tonight. They said it could be anywhere from 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. And anytime before this, I would just brush it off and say, we'll be all right. But now we are kind of a little shell shocked, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little worried because there's so much that still needs to be done and that has not been able to get done because of the storm raining yesterday and other things like that. Trees that may have been loosened up from the tornado that may not have fallen yet may loosen up and fall tonight. And that scares me because we're just now getting out of this and we don't really need that. And there's, like I said, there's people sleeping in tents and things like that. So, just keep everybody in your thoughts and your heart here in Claremore as we continue to move forward. I'm working with someone. We got a little something in the works. I don't want to say yet until we get it done, but you'll be seeing it on our social medias. That we're going to be doing to try to help fundraise some money for the community, people in need, those sorts of things. Guys, just like I said, please just keep this community, keep Pryor, Mays County in your prayers as well. They're our sister town right to the east of us here, and they got hit hard too. Like it's insane looking at the homes out there. That it literally just foundations with just rubble laying down on top of them, walls separated from each other, and it looks like a sketchy looking Jenga holding it up. It really is heartbreaking, because this is my home. These are my people. These are, my friends, my families. They're people that are dear to us, and we're seeing this happen. And so, but anyways, guys, it's a shorter podcast today. I didn't want to leave you hanging for another week because of the tornado last week held us up. But we've got some awesome guests coming up in the near future. You guys are not going to want to miss it. It's some good stuff. Even just a surprise host maybe be coming on in the near future here, and you'll definitely want to see that one. I promise it'll be a good one. But guys, again, if you need help or anything like that, holler at us. We're still here. We still want to help you. We still want to help you get through this situation. We'll continue to let you know what's going on with this fundraiser and things like that. But I appreciate everybody in this community. I appreciate our leaders. I appreciate the people. I appreciate the outside towns that have sent their people here away from their families to work long hours to help us get back on our feet. And so, again, thank you so much. Guys, I know it's a short one, but thanks for listening to another episode of I Never Met a Stranger.